Miss Monica McNutt couldn't figure that out and took a conversation and did something she has never done before that absolutely shocked me that she did today.
Did you see how quickly this ESPN segment turned from analysis into open confrontation? The debate escalated fast, and at the center of it was Stephen A. Smith, who didn't hold back. He directly challenged commentary from Monica McNutt and Chiny Ogwumike over their perspectives on Caitlin Clark. What made it explosive wasn't just disagreement. It was the accusation of inconsistency. Smith framed the discussion around perceived double standards and how physical play involving Clark is interpreted compared to similar situations involving other players.
Your bigger concern when you highlight that Angel Reese, like Caitlin Clark is usually the victim, Angel Reese is usually the villain. Is that your problem?
Rewind to the game itself. Caitlin Clark delivered another headline stat line: 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, reinforcing why she remains such a focal point of league conversation. The flashpoint came during a physical box-out against Angel Reese. It was strong, aggressive positioning, the kind of contact that often happens in high-level basketball. Officials assessed it in real time, and debate followed instantly. Was it overly aggressive? Was it routine playoff-level physicality? That depends heavily on perspective.
So Angel Reese pushes Natasha Howard in the back, which angers Caitlin, and Caitlin gives a no free buckets foul with some extra.
The real temperature spike came afterward in studio commentary. Monica McNutt suggested that public reaction might look different if the roles were reversed, implying that narratives surrounding Clark can swing dramatically depending on context. That argument isn't new. In modern sports discourse, especially involving high-profile rivalries, perception often shapes reaction more than the replay itself. But Smith countered by arguing that if consistency is the goal, then similar plays must be evaluated similarly, regardless of which name is on the jersey.
They both said this was a basketball play. Now, Greedy, let's be honest. If this was the other way around, oh, Lord, you can only imagine how the conversation would have gone.
If this was the other way around, oh, Lord, you could have only imagined how the conversation would have... Well, you know what, Monica? That's a good... Let's see if we have any examples of this possibly being the other way.
I believe to Angel Reese.
Oh!
And they will go to the monitor.
Wait a second.
To review this one.
Yeah, that's right.
Boom!
Smith's central point focused on response. In previous heated moments between Clark and Reese, he argued that Clark often disengaged quickly and returned to play without escalating theatrics. From his perspective, framing one player as instigator while excusing comparable physicality from another creates imbalance in coverage. His World War analogy wasn't literal. It was rhetorical emphasis on how amplified the conversation becomes when Clark is involved.
No good bastards that would do something like that, feel something like that, say something like that. Nobody's talking about you. Don't personalize it and embrace it as if black folks and other folks are lumping.
The broader issue here is narrative framing. Angel Reese has cultivated a confident, expressive on-court persona, competitive, vocal, unapologetic. Many fans celebrate that energy. Clark, meanwhile, is often characterized as focused and restrained, letting performance speak. The tension arises when physical play between them is interpreted through those existing character lenses. Are media reactions fully consistent? That's a fair debate. But it's also important to recognize that rivalry amplifies scrutiny. Every interaction between Clark and Reese now carries layered meaning because audiences project storylines onto IT. At its core, this isn't just about one box out. It's about how stars are covered, how identity shapes interpretation, and how quickly sports analysis can turn into cultural commentary. And as long as these two remain central figures in the league's spotlight, every hard foul, stare down, or post-game quote will continue to spark more than just basketball talk.
Didn't agree with is when she said, oh yeah, all players react the way that Angel Reese reacted. Now, if we think back to last year when Caitlin Clark was getting knocked all over the place, how was her reaction? Did she get up and try to fight? Did she get up and try to get in somebody's face afterwards? A lot of those times, it was just her maybe laying down, or she got up and walked away, got up, went to the bench. So I don't necessarily agree that everybody reacts.
This is where the debate shifted from basketball to something much heavier. Stephen A. Smith took direct issue with the idea that criticism of Angel Reese is primarily rooted in race, while praise for Caitlin Clark is primarily rooted in her being white. He argued that reducing every foul, rivalry moment, or media reaction to identity politics oversimplifies what are often basketball-driven discussions. At the same time, it's important to recognize that conversations about race in sports don't appear out of nowhere. Media framing, fan reactions, and historical patterns in coverage absolutely shape perception. Dismissing that context entirely can be just as incomplete as attributing everything to it.
It's not about black and white. It's about that white player and that black player. Why? Because of the history that they had before they came to the WNBA. You see, it was all instigated. If Angel Reese was never in Caitlin Clark's face, taunting her the way that she did when they mimicking what Caitlin Clark was doing to numerous opponents en route to the Final Four, and then Angel Reese and LSU bust their living you-know-what at that particular moment in time, and Angel Reese was in her face chirping at her the way that she did, it would have never.
Smith also revisited the now famous hand gesture from the 2023 National Championship game, the LSU-Iowa moment that cemented Reese and Clark as intertwined figures in women's basketball storylines. That rivalry didn't begin in the WNBA. It carried over from college, where both players leaned into visibility in different ways. Reese has often embraced a bold, expressive persona. Clark has typically projected a quieter, performance-first image. Smith's argument was that when competitive theatrics start overshadowing on-court production, criticism becomes fair game, regardless of who the player is. Other analysts, however, have pointed out that expressive athletes in men's leagues are often celebrated for swagger, not labeled distractions.
If Angel Reese had never waved her hand in her face when LSU was beating Iowa for in the Final Four of the national championship, if that hadn't happened, Angel Reese's name might not be as big. Yes, she's a talent. Yes, she would have made the WNBA. But in terms of her popularity, it really soared after she took down Caitlin Clark. And then Caitlin Clark came back last year and got revenge by knocking LSU.
When Smith said, "This isn't about race, it's about respect for the game," he was framing the issue around professionalism and consistency. His position is that Clark's media attention stems from measurable production, scoring, assists, impact on ratings, and that visibility follows performance. That argument holds weight statistically. Clark's shooting range, playmaking, and record-breaking viewership numbers have undeniably boosted attention around the league. But it's also true that marketability is influenced by narrative, relatability, personality, and timing, not just box scores.
Caitlin Clark is balling. She's a rookie of the year. She was one of the finalists for the league MVP honors as a rookie, breaking all types of records. She should have been on Team USA. She didn't choose to play in an unrivaled league. Her brand building has been...
There's no question Clark has driven attendance spikes and television numbers for the Indiana Fever. That's data, not opinion. At the same time, Reese has also been a ratings draw, particularly because of the rivalry storyline itself. The Clark-Reese dynamic fuels engagement on both sides, framing one as carrying the league while portraying the other as coasting off a single college moment oversimplifies their impact. Reese has built her own brand, secured endorsements, and produced strong rebounding numbers at the pro level. Both players benefit from and contribute to the attention cycle.
That you expressed rather. But there are an abundance of people that weren't looking at it that way at all. There are an abundance of people that have religiously respected the great talent that exists within the WNBA and the women who have done it. What has happened is that in America, you have somebody that's come along who, by the way, I'm going to go there, who happens to be white and brought a level of attention and allure to the sport it had not received before. And what we were seeing from an abundance of...
Smith's frustration centered on perceived inconsistency. Moments where Clark absorbs hard contact without extended media outrage versus moments involving Reese that spark immediate defensive narratives. His broader point was about equal standards of accountability, but consistency cuts both ways. League officiating decisions are reviewed internally, and media commentary varies depending on panel dynamics, show format, and individual analyst perspective. What feels like silence in one instance can feel like overreaction in another, especially in the social media echo chamber.
Monica, nothing smart to say. Can you address that? No, it's okay, Monica. It's okay. You too busy worried about the Indiana Fever fans. You're not worried about the actual trolls and the hate and the bigotry that's taking place on that side, are you? No, but why?
Ultimately, this debate reflects a larger tension in modern sports coverage. Are players being evaluated purely on performance? Or are cultural narratives amplifying certain reactions? The truth likely sits somewhere in the middle. Clark's rise is rooted in extraordinary skill and timing. Reese's visibility is rooted in competitive fire and a willingness to embrace spotlight moments. Both are talented, both are polarizing, and both exist in a media ecosystem where every comment becomes content. What Stephen A. Smith did was vocalize frustration that many fans share. What his critics argue is that nuance matters when discussing identity and perception. The real question moving forward isn't who wins the debate on TV. It's whether coverage can hold all players to consistent standards while still acknowledging the broader cultural layers that make this rivalry bigger than basketball.